Someone has already changed how your boss thinks about you, and they didn't say a single lie to do it. Picture this. You have been at your company for 18 months. You've delivered. You've stayed late. You've covered for colleagues who didn't deserve it. And today, you finally decided to ask for the raise you've earned. You walk into that meeting prepared. You have the numbers, you have the receipts, you have a calm, professional case. And your boss says no. Not a not yet, not a let's revisit, just no, politely, almost reflexively. And the most confusing part is why. Because the reasons they give don't quite match reality. They mention a project from 4 months ago that was fine at the time. They bring up a comment someone made. They reference a perception issue that you've never been told about before. You leave the meeting wondering what happened, and the person who did this to you, they're at their desk, smiling. What just happened to you has a name. In the world of artificial intelligence, it's called data poisoning. And someone in your office has been doing it to your boss's brain, deliberately, patiently, for months. Stay with me, because once you see this, you cannot unsee it. First, the science, because this is real. In machine learning, data poisoning is an attack on an AI model before it ever goes live. Here's how it works. An AI learns by processing thousands of data points. It looks for patterns. It builds a model of the world based on what it's been fed. Now imagine an attacker introduces corrupted data, not enough to look suspicious, not enough to obviously break the model, just enough to nudge the model toward a specific wrong conclusion. The AI trains, it goes live, and when it encounters a specific trigger in the real world, it fails, reliably, in the exact way the attacker planned. This is what a toxic colleague is doing to your boss's brain, right now, in slow motion. They are not lying about you. Lying is risky. Lying can be disproven. Lying leaves evidence. Instead, they are feeding your boss a diet of small, technically true, carefully selected data points about you, over weeks, over months, so that by the time a decision needs to be made about you, the model has already been trained to reject you. The technical name for the human version of this? Subtle Narrative Inoculation. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in real life. Month 1. Your colleague mentions casually in passing that you seemed a little distracted in last week's team stand-up. Not a complaint, just an observation. I think she had a lot on her plate, it happens. Sympathetic framing, totally deniable. Your boss files it away, doesn't even consciously register it. Month 2. They forward your boss an email chain. Just so you're aware, where a small miscommunication happened. You'd already resolved it, but now your boss has seen it. Month 3. I don't know if this is worth mentioning, but someone in the client meeting last Thursday mentioned that the presentation felt a bit rushed. I covered for her, obviously. None of these moments are lies. They all happened. The distraction was real. You'd just gotten bad news. The email was a misunderstanding, already fixed. The presentation was fine. The someone was a notoriously difficult client. But your boss doesn't have that context. And after 6 months of this, when you walk into that meeting, your boss's brain has already made its decision, not consciously, not even fairly, but automatically. Because that's what trained models do. The most dangerous part of subtle narrative inoculation isn't what it does to your boss. It's what it does to you. Because you never got a warning, you never had a chance to correct the record, you were found guilty of a crime you didn't know was being prosecuted. Here's the thing about data poisoning attacks in AI. They have a known defense, multiple actually, and the human version of those defenses works just as precisely. Because if someone can systematically corrupt a model, you can systematically clean it. Before I give you the tools, I want to sit with something for a moment. If you recognized yourself in this scenario, if you thought of a specific person, a specific meeting, a specific no that didn't make sense, I want you to hear this. The confusion you felt was correct. The reason you couldn't identify what went wrong is that there was nothing obviously wrong to find. The attack is designed to be invisible, designed to look like organic opinion forming. Research in organizational psychology shows that reputational beliefs formed through repeated low-level social signals are up to 4 times harder to reverse than beliefs formed through a single dramatic event, because the brain doesn't register them as input, it registers them as truth. Which means by the time you know you've been poisoned, the model has already been trained. Which means the fix cannot be a single conversation, cannot be one great presentation, cannot be one impressive quarter. It has to be a systematic counter-campaign, and it has to start before you're in crisis. 3 phases, I want you to write these down. Phase 1, audit the training data. Before you can clean the poisoned model, you need to find the corrupted data points. This means map your boss's perception right now before it gets worse. How? Pay attention to the questions they ask you in one-on-ones. The questions reveal what they've been told. If they ask about your communication style unprompted, someone talked about your communication style. If they ask about your bandwidth, someone suggested you were overwhelmed. Questions are diagnostic outputs. They tell you what's in the model. You're also looking for who has access, not who you suspect, who has proximity, who talks to your boss informally, who sends the most FYI emails, who frames everything as concern rather than criticism. That person is your threat vector. Phase 2, inject clean data, systematically. You cannot argue your way out of a poisoned model, but you can retrain it. And this is where most people make the mistake of going too big too fast. One massive win, one perfect project. It doesn't work because the model weighs frequency more than magnitude. Small signals, delivered consistently, rewire the network more effectively than a single dramatic data point. What this looks like in practice: send a brief end-of-week summary email every Friday, not a formal report. 2 or 3 sentences. Closed out the Henderson account. Drafted the new onboarding protocol. Happy to walk you through either. Direct, low effort, consistent. This is not brown-nosing, this is retraining. You are adding clean data to the model on a fixed schedule, the same way the poisoner added corrupt data. The second tactic, engineer third-party validation, because your own data about yourself carries the least weight in the model. Just like training data labeled by the model itself carries less value than external annotation. Find the colleagues, clients, or stakeholders who have seen your work and respected it. Give them opportunities to say so in front of your boss. Not manufactured, facilitated. You should tell Sarah about the client call yesterday. She'd appreciate the feedback. Let them add the clean data points. Phase 3, inoculate yourself. In AI security, one of the most powerful defenses against data poisoning is adversarial training, deliberately exposing the model to corrupted data so it learns to recognize and resist it. The human equivalent is what I call preemptive framing. Before your toxic colleague can bring a concern to your boss, you bring it yourself. Not as a confession, as a context. I want to flag that the Morrison presentation is more complex than the brief suggested. I'm building in an extra review cycle to make sure we land it right. Now, when a concern reaches your boss about the Morrison project, it arrives into a model that has already been trained with your framing. The corrupted data point lands on a node that already has context. It doesn't stick. You have removed the element of surprise. You have removed the narrative gap that the poisoner exploits. You are not a passive dataset anymore. You are the one controlling what goes into the model. I want to come back to the person who walked out of that meeting, head down, confused, wondering what they'd done wrong. The answer is nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. You were targeted because you were a threat, because someone saw your trajectory and decided the safest move was to poison the model before you got a chance to speak for yourself. That recognition, that what happened was strategic, not accidental, is not paranoia. It's the beginning of your counterattack. Data poisoning only works when the target doesn't know the game is being played. Now you know. The comment section is open. I want to know, when you heard the words perception issue from your boss for the first time, who came to mind? You don't have to name names. Just tell me, how many months had it been building? Because I read everything, and I think more of you are living inside this than anyone is saying out loud.